Hello everyone, my name is Jose Fulgencio, a founder of LDMS Media. LDMS Media is an educational media company, and today I'm going to talk about using Twitter in the classroom. Twitter is a wonderful social media tool, and I want to tell you how you can use it effectively in your classroom, and preferably possibly in the college setting. You can also use it maybe in your high school, but preferably in the college setting. So what is LDMS Media? Basically, like I mentioned, it's an educational media company helping organizations and universities and individuals setting up online classroom design, setting up educational resources, and also how to use social media in the classroom. Also, LDMS Media is the creator of the Oh Yeah Help Me series, which is a college resource for all students, but geared towards young Latinos. So what is Twitter, right? So what Twitter is, of course, a social media site, half blog, half social networking. People call it a microblog. Basically, you have it's a social media site. There's about, I want to say, about 300 million users or more, if not less, a little less, worldwide. You know, it is a public company. So it's 140 characters, right? It's 140 characters that when you send out a tweet, which is what it's called, a tweet in 140 characters, and you only have 140 characters, right? You get no more. That's it. 140 characters. At times you have to be very creative at how you write your tweets, right? You can't write this long, massive letter on Twitter, right? If you do, you have to break it down to 140 words. And of course, the famous thing about it's a hashtag, right? You've probably seen hashtags on advertisements, on videos, commercials, right? The hashtag. Hashtag is basically a symbol used to mark keywords or topics in a tweet, right? So, for example, if you're sending out a tweet and you want to have it a running conversation, you would use hashtag EdChat, which is what an educational chat that is trending. You would put that hashtag on your tweet, and if you put that hashtag on the search key, which I'll show you in a bit, you can see the running conversations going on with that hashtag. And of course, I'm going to show you later on how you can create a hashtag for your classroom. So why use Twitter in the classroom? Why do we even want to use Twitter in the classroom, right? Jason Rode, sorry if I said that last name wrong, basically has some wonderful key points to why I use Classroom, right? It's a way to engage students, right? If you see my other presentations that I've had on the website, right, I talk about the digital media learner today that's coming into the classroom. These new, young, fresh college students coming into the college classrooms today are digital savvy, right? They may not know all how to write code, but they do know how to use Twitter, Facebook, all these social media sites. There's so many, I sometimes have trouble keeping up with all of them, that they know how to use it, and they expect it at times to be used in the classroom, right? So these students are coming very digital savvy. They want to be engaged in the classroom, not just being, having to raise their hand, but they want to use the social media. And Twitter is a wonderful way to engage with the students, right? You're pulling the world into the classroom, right? You want to bring all the resources that Twitter has in terms of news sources and news and everything like that that's used on Twitter. News comes out faster now on Twitter than it does on CNN or on other news sites, right? It just comes out quickly, and almost every single news site, the major ones, have a Twitter account, so you can you can pull that information into the classroom, right? And of course, you're extending it beyond the walls, right? Students nowadays, right? They don't want to just be told what to do, or they just don't want to listen to a lecture like death by PowerPoint, right? They want to be engaged. They want to know what's out in the world, right? And of course, knowing how to properly use Twitter in the classroom, you can tell students how to properly use it. Because now, today, a lot of jobs now are requiring social media savviness, right? Some students are getting jobs now being the social media coordinator at a company or an organization now. So it's a great practice to have. Also, another way to use it is to inform the class on classroom announcements. For example, when I use Twitter for the class, depending, of course, and I'll talk about a little bit about the student body to use it for. But if there's a quiz coming up, or just a reminder about a quiz, an exam, a classroom announcement, hey, don't forget to read. Hey, don't forget about class that we're going to discuss this. I use it for the classroom announcements, and it helped a lot to reduce emails. Right? I don't know about you, but for those of you who teach, right, how many of you probably get a junk of emails of just nonsense things? You're like, I just told you that like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 hours ago in class, right? Students may email you about, hey, when's the quiz, when's the exam, or just simple things that can be really reduced by possibly sending out a tweet. Now, of course, you have to remind yourself that not all students use Twitter or have a Twitter or want to engage in Twitter, so you still have to send emails out. But again, if you send out a tweet about an announcement, usually it reduces the email clutter at times, right? Of course, you want to introduce students to credible sources. Sometimes, of course, when especially incoming freshmen and sometimes sophomores or even juniors, right? They believe that Wikipedia is a credible source. You have to remind them, no, right? And then if students are on Twitter, and of course they're engaging with you on Twitter, you can say, hey, look at these credible sources, right? These news organizations or these research organizations, right? The most of them already have a Twitter account, so you can just, hey, check these out. You can send them out a tweet with the Twitter names of credible sources, right? And so, Dr. Ray Junko had this great paper that I want to show you real quick. Um, the effect of Twitter on college student engagement and grades. And basically, I don't want to read you the whole. Of course, I'm not going to read you the whole paper. But basically, the study provides experimental evidence that Twitter can be used as an educational tool to help engage students and to mobilize faculty into a more active and participatory role. The study was very great. There's actually even a video on Twitter about, actually a video on YouTube, sorry, on this. Did a fabulous job on this. So highly recommend to check it out. It's a very awesome, great tool to use, right? So it basically enhances the participation. So the tools available, there's some simple tools. I mean, there are many tools out there for Twitter, but some of the three simple tools that you can use to kind of manage and to better use Twitter is these three: TweetDeck, Buffer, and Bitly, Bitly, or whatever how it's said. Real quick, and I'll show you the first one. This one, Bitly, is basically just kind of shortening links. So say, for example, I'm just going to use this as an example of mine, right? The presentations that I've had. I just copy and paste this. And of course, I'm using an Apple product, so I'm just copying and pasting. And of course, it shortens it right here. As you can see, it shortens the link. So when you're writing sending out a tweet, you don't have to have this long URL, right? Especially if you're gonna tweet out an article that has this long URL, just paste it in here and you just copy and paste it into your tweet. So for example, if I wanted to do that here, I just copy and paste it. Oh, not that one. Copy and paste this one, right? And it shortens it a bit. Now the other one, TweetDeck, is basically, let's say you have two Twitter accounts, right? One your personal, one for university or for teaching purposes. You can have it here to basically customize and make sure you have customized timelines, keep track of lists and activities, your two different accounts. So if you had this, you can keep an account of all of your Twitter accounts. You can have a custom timeline. You can even schedule your tweets. So say, for example, you want to schedule a tweet for tomorrow at 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. to remind the class about something. You can even schedule your own tweet so you don't have to constantly be tweeting or forget to send out a tweet. Buffer, basically, it helps manage multiple social media accounts and also schedules content. So it's just another tool that you can use. And of course, if you Google Twitter tools, you can get Twitter tools for almost a lot of other things. I would suggest though that you don't pay for any of the services. If it's just going to be for classroom purposes, don't really pay for any of the services. Some of them do, like, oh, pay this amount and you can become a member. To cut costs down and everything like that. Don't pay for any services. But if you do want to, that's all on you. If you want. and going back. So those are the tools available, right? Some of the activities that you can do, right? You can do you can ask students to tweet out current news events, right? So whatever's going on in the world at the time, right? You can say, hey class, go find 2 or 3 credible tweets from news sources or organizations, and tweet them out to the class using a hashtag, right? Students will probably have fun with it. Now, again, of course, if you're going to do that activity, make sure that Twitter is probably required for the class, and you can do that if you want. So to make that activity, also exchange ideas, possible topics for a class paper, for a class project, using a hashtag. So how do we get started? So if you really want to get started with Twitter, if you really want to use it for the classroom, well, first of all, set up a Twitter account. You can do it either on the computer or, of course, on your smartphone or tablet. And of course, if you're gonna have a Twitter, make sure you put the app on your phone or for your tablet. Create a hashtag for your class. So for one of my classes, and I'll just show you here real quick. Hashtag OCOKC 1113. This is a hashtag I created for one of my classes. This class it didn't work out well last semester for Twitter because of my student body. But again, I use a really short hashtag, to kind of say what university and such, and what campus, and the number of the class. 1113 is the basic American government course. Use it up to you how you want it, right? If you're teaching a math course, for example, maybe it's whatever university you're at. Let's just say the initials are ANT. I don't know what it stands for, but let's say ANT Math 110, right? It's the basic math course. If you're gonna use it for math, I'm just saying the example. Then you would use that hashtag. Now, make sure that you think of several hashtags for your class and try them out in the search category, and make sure that no one else is using that hashtag. The last thing you want to do is create a hashtag and other people are using it and have the classroom totally confused. So make sure that no one else is using that hashtag. So go try it out first and see if it works. Make sure you also make it short and easy to remember. You don't want to make this huge long hashtag like OSU OKC 1113. It's a little long, but of course it's students remember it, right? Tell your class about the Twitter account, like I said at the very beginning of the course. Even outline it in the syllabus, right? That Twitter will be used in the class for either announcements or if you want to make it part of the class, make sure that they know it's part of the class, right? So make sure that you say in the very beginning of the course. It's one of the misconceptions that has been said about Twitter from Dr. Bucham, sorry if I said it wrong, my German professor, is that some people have said that it's useless, that Twitter's useless, it's just a bunch of Orion people don't know what they're talking about. And it's not useless. Twitter is not a useless social media tool. It can actually be used for very credible sources. It can be used at a very good way. Like I said, news today goes so fast that sometimes Twitter is the first to know about the news, right? And so it's the very first thing to use for news sources, right? And even Twitter is being used so much that even MLA and APA have found a way to cite the source. You can actually cite tweet feeds, right? I tell my class, if you're gonna cite Twitter, make sure it's from a credible source. And if you have confusions whether it's a credible source, just tweet me the news source, and I'll check it out, right? And of course, it's not an information overkill, right? I mean, people, no matter how much information is available to us, people are still not knowledgeable of what's going on around the world, right? So it's not really an information overkill. So if you're going to use Twitter in the classroom, use it effectively. Use it best for the class. Don't just use Twitter to use Twitter and think if you, hey, I have a Twitter account and that's it. You have to use it effectively. You have to see if it aligns with the values of the class, see if it can be used in the class, and whether the student body of your class will even utilize Twitter, right? It may happen, like I said, some students, the majority of students may not just use it or may not care. And you know what? Well, that's fine. You know, you just trade out for your next class, right? Don't get frustrated if students don't use it. That's fine, unless it's for a classroom, unless it's required by the class or something different. But if it's just an option, don't get frustrated if the students don't use it. But if they do, make sure you stay on top of things, right? Make sure you stay on top of Twitter. If you're gonna use Twitter, make sure you stay on top of Twitter, right? If you have any questions, you can feel free to check out the website, ldmsmedia.com. You can feel free to email me if you want me to come out to your university, organization, or whatever it may be, and come out, give a presentation, give some training. And of course, feel free to email if you have any questions and check out the website. Thank you.